Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are in the world listening to this podcast, the James Dyer podcast with me, your host, James Dyer. I hope you're safe, I hope you're well, I hope you're doing okay. And looking forward to the Premier League returning tomorrow with the first game at 12:30, Crystal Palace versus Tottenham. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about Arsenal. Arsenal are back with Gabriel, Partey and Nketiah White all back from injury. They're coming up against Norwich at 3 p.m. No El Neni, no Xhaka, and potentially no ESR, Emile Smith-Rowe, because of illness, although we'll see. And Norwich come to the Emirates. No new injury concerns for them. They've still got a few players that could feature following injuries or illnesses. But I can't pronounce their names, so I'm not even going to try. Arsenal have had a terrible time of it this season so far. We've been absolutely shocking. But they come up against a Norwich team that are equally as poor, or nearly as equally. They have scored a goal, so we'll give them that. But they're coming against a Norwich team that are ready for a relegation battle. Arsenal aren't. But I think this game is where Arsenal record their first 3 points of the season, and I think Arsenal are going to do well in this game at the Emirates at 3 o'clock. It's going to be an Arsenal win, I believe, and I think it's going to be Arsenal 3, Norwich 1. We shall see. I don't know where that confidence is coming from. I have no idea, but I really do hope it is. But I'm delighted to have the Premier League back. I'm delighted to have Arsenal back, even though we've been awful so far this season, and I can't wait for the Premier League to return. Crystal Palace, Tottenham, as I mentioned, 12:30 kick-off tomorrow, the first Premier League game of the weekend coming along at 12:30 at Selhurst Park. Palace versus Tottenham. And for me, this ends in a 1-1 draw. People might say, how is that possible? Tottenham, they've been excellent so far. 3 goals, 3 wins, and max points, sitting at the top of the Premier League. It won't last. It never lasts. It's Spurs. They're coming up against a Palace team which have, let's be fair, have been pretty horrific so far this season. Couple of draws, yes, but we've had a defeat in there as well. They haven't been great. I've seen quite a lot of Palace fans being like, I'm not sure about Vieira and all this kind of stuff. But I think Palace get a 1-1 draw. Mainly because Tottenham are without Lo Celso, they're without Heung-min Son, I believe. Davinson Sanchez is out. There's a couple of others as well. Kane played 90 minutes against Poland in a very sort of not rough, but sort of feisty affair over there in Warsaw. So I think this could be a draw, and I think this is where we'll see Tottenham drop points for the first time this season. Covered Arsenal versus Norwich at 3 p.m, 3-1 Arsenal I'm going for. We then have Brentford versus Brighton at the Bees' new stadium. I think Brentford win this. I think Brentford win this 2-1 against Brighton. I just think they've got a bit much up front for Brighton to handle. Another 3 p.m. kick-off. We've got Leicester versus Man City at 3 o'clock at the King Power Stadium. And I think, although Leicester beat City in the Community Shield, I think City have a little bit too much for Leicester. Although they will be without Gabriel Jesus and Ederson and people like that. But I still think City will win there. I'm going to go for a City win at the King Power. And I'm going to go for City to win it 3-2. Man City, that is, to beat Leicester City 3-2. The other, well, I guess the biggest game of the weekend, in a sense, is probably Man United versus Newcastle at 3 o'clock at Old Trafford with the return of Cristiano Ronaldo. And I think, I don't know what that was. I think Man United will win that quite comfortably. I don't think Newcastle even muster a goal. I don't think Ronaldo will start. I think he'll come off the bench and he'll come onto the cacophony of noise and the standing ovation from the United faithful, or the Manchester United faithful. Done it twice now, City and United. Man United faithful, and I think Man United beat Newcastle at Old Trafford 4-0. That's just my prediction. Southampton versus West Ham. Southampton have been iffy so far this season. West Ham have been pretty strong, but it's at St Mary's. I think Southampton will probably get another draw here. I don't know if they've got James Ward-Prowse back. I'm not sure. I think goals are going to be a problem for Southampton this season, but I do see them picking up a point against West Ham at St Mary's, so I'm going to go for a Southampton draw with West Ham 1-1. Then Watford play Wolves. I think this is an interesting one because Wolves have been better than their results have said so far, but Watford are going to be up for this. They're going to be up for a decent battle. They're going to know that picking up points in these sorts of games at home is going to be important, and I think they do, but I only think they pick up 1 point. I think this is going to be a boring 0-0 draw. The 5:30 kickoff on Saturday is Chelsea versus Aston Villa, and for me, I can't see Villa getting anything other than a defeat at Stamford Bridge, so I'm going to go for a Chelsea win 3-1. But none of those scorers will be Timo Werner. I don't know if you've seen his miss from the other night. You need to watch that. It's another miss to add to the catalogue of misses that Werner's had at Chelsea. But Chelsea, for me, win that 3-1 with the 5:30 kickoff on Saturday. A couple of other games to talk about. Sunday, Leeds play Liverpool at 4:30 at Elland Road. And this is an interesting one because this could go either way. Liverpool could either win it 6-0 or Leeds could win it 2-0 or 2-1 or something. So I'm just going to go with Leeds to win it 2-1 on the basis that Liverpool are without Fabinho, Alisson, and they're out. They've got one more out as well, and I can't remember who it is. They've got a third player out, Liverpool. Alisson... Fabinho. Oh, Firmino, of course, Firmino. So yeah, I think they're without those three because of what happened in Brazil. So I can't see it being I just can't see enough of Liverpool. I can see Liverpool smashing Leeds 6-0, but I don't think that's going to happen on Sunday. So I'm going to go for a Leeds win. 2-1, bit controversial, but that's what I'm going to go for. Monday night football, Everton versus Burnley, Rafa Benitez versus Shoendice. 8 o'clock kickoff, as I said, on Monday night football on Sky. Everton versus Burnley, I'm going to go for an Everton win. I think Everton win that 2-0. I just don't think Burnley have had a great start to the season. I don't think they're very good, and they don't pick up points really until about January when it gets cold, wet, windy, and they can throw the ball in the box and basically beat the ball into the back of the box. That's just my opinion. So Everton to win that 2-0, I think, against Burnley. Going to be interesting. Great to have the Premier League back this weekend. Great to see that Arsenal have got a few players back from injury. Delighted that's going to happen. And the last thing I wanted to say is that I just want to get behind Mikel Arteta. I don't think he's the right man for the job, but I do think he's the man that's going to stay in the job because I don't think we have a board and an executive member of staff who has got the bottle to get rid of him at this stage. I just don't think they will. They've invested a lot of money, a lot of energy in Mikel Arteta, and I don't see them getting rid of him whatever happens against Norwich. But whatever does happen against Norwich, Arsenal need to win, and I think they probably will. Arsenal are without Xhaka, as I said, because of suspension and COVID, so that's a plus. That is a plus from an Arsenal perspective. It might mean that we get a partnership of Lokonga and Partey, which would be amazing. Can't wait to see that. Martin Odegaard in the 10. In fact, let's do the starting lineup. So I think we'll start with Leno in goal, left back Tierney, centre backs. I'm hoping Gabriel and Ben White will start in a 4. I can't see a back 5 against Norwich. I think that would be naive, but you never know. I'm going to go for a back 4. So, yep, Leno, Tierney, Gabriel on the left of the 2 centre-backs, Ben White on the right. And I'm going to say that I think he might start Cedric, actually, but it might be Chambers. Tomiyasu, I think, will be on the bench, and I can't see Ainsley Maitland-Niles starting. So I think he'll probably go with Cedric again, but we might see Chambers. If we do see Tommy or Titi or Tomiyasu, great stuff. Looking forward to that. But that's who I think is going to be a right back, either Cedric or Chambers. Let's stick my neck out. I'm going to go with Cedric. That's not what I would choose. This is just what I think he's going to go with. In the midfield, Lokonga, Partey, Odegaard in the 10. To the right and left of those, on the right-hand side, I think he's going to go with Pepe. To the left, I think he's... Well, certainly I would go with Pepe. I think he will go with Pepe. On the left-hand side, I think he might go for... Aubameyang again on the left with Lacazette playing down the middle. I just have a feeling, but I wouldn't be surprised if Eddie Nketiah starts on the left-hand side after doing really well actually in pre-season. Scored a couple of goals, looked lively, looked sharp from there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Don't forget, this is the first game since the end of the transfer window, so Arteta can kind of settle down. He can get his squad settled, formulate a kind of plan as to how he's going to move forward. And the other thing about that with the transfer window kind of ending now is like, you know now these are the players you've got. So really there's no experiments now. You play the team you've got, you play the best team you've got, and you go out to win. We don't have Europe, as we know. So you've got literally one game a week until the League Cup and the FA Cup start. You've literally got the Premier League to consider. That's it. So go out with your best team and try and win as many games as possible. Rack those points up, and let's make the first points that we get 3 on Saturday at 3 p.m. at the Emirates. Arsenal versus Norwich. Arsenal to win it 3-1. Come on, the boys. Let's do it. Guys, thank you very much for listening. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much for listening. Share, like, subscribe. We're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram as well. Thank you very much. Stay safe, stay well. Oh, and the last thing I should say is, very soon coming up, we've got a transfer roundup show, which is coming a little bit late, but we wanted to wait until some of the other European countries that have got transfer windows have shut as well, like Turkey and places like that. We wanted those to finish. So I'll be inviting James, my best mate James, to come back on the podcast to do a transfer roundup show. We'll be discussing the biggest, best and worst transfers of the 2021 summer coming up on a transfer roundup podcast. But until then, thank you very much, guys. Stay safe, stay well, all the best. See you later.